Gay Street Alliance Club, and The Activist in Me. My name is Talia Arenas. This is me in middle school. I began breaking out of my shell at this age. I have always been a quiet student, but also someone who will stand up against injustice. However, this became more true in high school. This is a picture of me and my family when I was in high school. We are Mexican American. My parents are hard workers, and I am the oldest of 3. That means I have to lead by example. If my siblings could say one thing about me, is that I work a lot. This memoir is about my activist work in high school that began with the opening of a Gay Street Alliance Club, and the pushback my friends and I received thereafter in our high school. I am a 2007 graduate of Madera High and a former GSA president. During our junior year, my friends and I wanted to have a safe space for LGBT students to meet and discuss similar interests. This is where the formation of a GSA was exactly a space that could allow for this kind of environment, free of discrimination, open to express our identities, and support group for each other. Madera, however, is a conservative town, and the formation of this club caused controversy in our school and our community. As the club president, most of the responsibility landed on my shoulder. Since I had more freedom than my friends to ignite the GSA flame, I led the meetings, attended trainings, and filled out and submitted paperwork to help our club receive approval by Madera High. We first inquired about starting the club with our school's administration, but they told us that the process could take up to 6 months. Feeling a little discouraged, we decided to take our club meetings elsewhere. The necessity to meet was great, that we required our community center's help. We went to them, who were pleased to host our meetings, as the staff happened to identify as allies to our cause. And even though we weren't officially meeting on school grounds yet, we had begun our activist work there. I joined the GSA Network's Valley meetings, where representatives from different GSAs come together to discuss their club's progress. I also attended a couple of LGBT youth conferences in order to educate myself on LGBT matters. The GSA Network invited us to lobby for AB 537, the California Student Safety and Violence Prevention Act, at the Capitol, where I spoke to Legislative Council on the importance of this law, which ensures LGBT safety at school. Our group was starting to get a name for itself, although some of the attention was negative since some of our peers started bullying us. One of my friends got a note in her locker calling her derogatory names. Our lunch table was also tagged with the words lesbian table. However, in that situation, we actually embraced the term because that table became solely ours and we loved it, especially since it was perfectly centered on the schoolyard under a tree. We felt empowered every time we walked up to our table. Everyone knew who we were and what we stood up for. Due to the lack of education our peers had about LGBT matters, we wanted to start raising awareness. Our first protest was on National Day of Silence, where we wore shirts to raise awareness on anti-LGBT name-calling, bullying, and harassment in schools. We vowed silence in an effort to encourage our school and classmates to address the problem of anti-LGBT behavior by illustrating the silencing effect of bullying and harassment on LGBT students. As we got more involved with the Gay Street Alliance Network, a California nonprofit organization that provides resources for GSAs, we felt encouraged to return to our high school and put in another request to be a club. By this time, a year had passed and we were now seniors. On the second attempt to start the club, we were told by school officials that if we wanted to form a club, we would not be considered a school-sponsored club, because religious, philosophical, or political groups were not sponsored by the school. This meant that we did not have regular club benefits to do anything on campus other than meet and have an advisor. We could not make announcements on school grounds, post on bulletins, hand out flyers, nor announce club meetings on school intercom or fundraise. If you read the mission statement of the GSAs all across the U.S., you can note that we promote peer support and social activities, similarly to other clubs. But according to the school, we were a philosophical interest group. Meeting the school guidelines became our priority. Here is a document that demonstrates what the school had given to us in written format about what we could and could not do on campus as a non-school sponsored club. Obviously, we had interest in the club. Here is a sign-in sheet of students who came and attended our meetings. Here I am leading one of the meetings that we had. Commonly, we met and discussed different things that were going on in the community and how we could help to volunteer and support other organizations. Here we are in one of our club meetings, enjoying Halloween and having some snacks, like any other regular club would do. We happened to find 2 teachers on campus who were willing to be our advisors. This is how we were able to begin meeting. At this point, we took whatever the school gave us in order to have our club. However, we did try to circumvent the issue a little bit by handing out flyers secretively. That is the only way that we were able to announce our meetings and get our members to attend. We didn't know at this point, though, that the school was in violation of our rights. One day when we asked our mentor from the GSA network if what the school was doing was okay, she was alarmed at the fact that we were being treated differently than other clubs. She said they were violating the law and forwarded our story to the GSA network leaders, who in turn contacted the ACLU to provide legal assistance. This is where the legal debate for our student rights began. The ACLU sent a letter to Madera Unified stating they had to recognize us as an official school-sponsored club, otherwise face lawsuit for violating the Equal Access Act, requiring public schools to treat all non-curricular student clubs equally and prohibit favoring some clubs over others, which Madera High had been doing by allowing the Christian club to be a school-sponsored club, but not us. When we approached the Christian club, even they were in support of our right to form, especially because denying us would be denying them too. Here is an email I got from the ACLU representative requesting I provide evidence for our case. I gathered everything they asked for until our case had sufficient documentation of the injustice we were going through. The day came where the district finally had to hear our case and discontinue putting us off any longer. We all waited impatiently in the public forum chairs to hear whether they were going to approve or deny us. Here is a copy of the board meeting agenda where the district listed us, only after months of them prolonging and debating the validity of our club's request to be school-sponsored. I remember checking their agenda every month to see when they would eventually make the decision as to the fate of our club. The moment we heard, "We motion to approve the Gay Straight Alliance Club," I nearly wanted to cry. We all jolted from our seats and applauded the decision. Some board members were still in opposition, but the majority voted in our favor, as they understood that an unfavorable decision would be in violation of state law. It was one of the best days of my life. However, once the local newspaper announced the decision, opposition quickly targeted us. Some of the opinions read, "We now have provided a social club for the children to explore homosexuality. For those who do not see the dangerous paradox here, be assured that further assaults are imminent." Another one read, "The promotion of deadly alternative lifestyles does not belong in our schools." A third one read, "Miss Arena sounds so sweet. We're all just so happy. However, little does she know that God has nothing but a curse for those who continue to engage in her lifestyle." Although some were not completely opposed and rather responded with, "This club isn't going to cause kids to be gay, but it might teach them to accept differences in other people." Or as the student himself said, they, referring to the opposing side, "should question gang violence and the fear of retaliation that is apparent everywhere on campus. We students worry a lot more about that than who is gay and who is straight." Someone else said, "Give the club a chance." Some were open to the idea and some were completely opposed. There was no in between. But we did not let hate mail discourage what we had strongly been working for, a safe space on campus. Plus, now that we were official, that meant we could begin doing everything we had been wanting to do, like participate in school events. Sadly, this was in the middle of spring, close to our graduation date. When the school club list was updated with our name, we were ecstatic. This made us feel accomplished and like we had created a precedent for future students who wanted to also take advantage of having a GSA. When I graduated, I can truly say I was fulfilled as a student, and I still am. Hard work paid off, and due to our dedication, we were recognized at Fresno's 2007 Pride Parade that summer. We were made Grand Marshal of the event and shared space on a special vehicle with a transgender prom king who happened to make the news that year too. After I graduated, my activist work continued. I went to activist training as a youth trainer hosted by the GSA network in order to educate students how they too could start a GSA club, promote diversity in their schools, and stand against discrimination. I also became a board member for the GSA network board and then the youth council chair with the board. It took legal help, courage, and a spirit for the pursuit of equality to help the students of Madera Unified can now enjoy without hassle. GSA is ongoing at the high school thanks to everyone who made this possible back in 2007. My younger sister, who is in high school, now is a member of the club where they continue to hold a safe space for students. We may no longer be there, but ground has been paved. As an adult, I have found this meaningful facet of my life to open new and exciting doors for me. I am now an activist working on animal welfare, but an activist nonetheless. I also became a humane educator and wedding officiant since my abilities to run meetings, present in large crowds, and educate others developed starting in high school. It was the inspiring work that I did in my youth that has shaped me into this productive individual. I will always stand up for what is right and advocate for those in need.